Hi, this is Joanna, and in this video, I want to share with you my personal experiences with past life regression. So, I'm a hypnotherapist, and in my hypnotherapy practice, I guide people through past life regressions. But also, over the past 10 years, I was the client. I was being taken through the regression. So this video is just about my experiences. And the reason why I want to do it this way is because I want to let you know what it feels like. What it feels like on the inside. And does it get any easier? Does it get any better when it comes to accessing that information? There were 4-5 methods I used to access the past lives, and each of them had something to do with how I experienced it. So, one, I started from the group regressions. Then I moved on to one on one regressions. Then I also experienced my past lives in the dreams. I also went to my meditation, not guided meditation, but simply meditation, when I set an intention before sitting down that I want to access some of my past lives. And I also used guided meditations. So, how each of them worked for me. I know that some people have good experiences in group regressions. I did not. Anyway, nothing special happened for me. I don't remember if I went into those regressions with a specific question. I remember only one that showed me more visuals, maybe showed me an actual lifetime. I was able to draw the shoes I was wearing after the regression. I was able to draw the shoes, and in this lifetime, I actually have this kind of shoes. I was a woman in Vienna in the 1900s, and I just ran away with the circus. So that would show me that my soul always wanted some sort of freedom, more freedom than the regular life or the regular rules of life would grant a person. Now, I was able to feel the joy of running away with the circus. I could see my shoes. And in this lifetime, I actually have similar shoes from Rijeka. If I had a person that would guide me through it and I would be speaking about my experience, we could have accessed more. The person would ask me, okay, so what was the lesson from this life? What were the significant experiences? What did you feel? What did you learn? Do you recognize somebody there from your current life? And what was overall the lesson from your life? If you are looking at that lifetime from the last day, what were the realizations? There were no specific big feelings except maybe a sense of freedom, fun, and joy. I don't know how that life worked out for me then, but I know that it was fun. So, how was it? Was it easy or was it hard? It was a little bit hard in the group settings because the person that was guiding us, her instructions were a little bit misaligned with what I was going through at that time. And she was taking us to the next experience, but I was still in the other experience. Well, I struggled with developing the images and the experiences in that group setting. Now, what can I tell you about my one-on-one regression experience when I was the person being regressed? Okay, so I recall I had 3 one-on-one regressions. First, let's talk about the ease of the information flowing through my mind. The first regression was the easiest, the most spectacular, the most eventful, and the most emotional. The second regression was also significant, and the third one was the hardest. So sometimes I'm thinking with my clients, okay, so let's see how it's going to be for you, because sometimes people are blocked, maybe 1 in 10 persons are blocked. But does it mean that it's your first past life regression and you are going to be more blocked because you haven't practiced it yet. Not at all. I had people who, well, most of my clients had past life regression for the first time, and for some of them, the information is flowing so freely through their mind and through their words. Okay, but let me get back to my own experiences. Okay, so my first past life regression. In the beginning, the first life she guided me through was what happens a lot for people. So there were lights. I just experienced something dark and there were lights. And then I don't know if I actually changed form. The next experience was kind of dark. I felt stuck and as if I was a stone. So maybe I was a stone, maybe not, but the next thing that happened was I was a bird. This paradise-like bird with big wings and long tail, so colorful, so spectacular. And I was flying above the desert that looked like the Monument Valley. It was freeing. And then I started experiencing lifetimes in human form. But also what happened for me in my first past life regression was a state of being in between lives. Was it a life between life? Well, sort of. It was a form of life because the awareness was there. But I simply entered it's a space beyond space and beyond time. When we are experiencing oneness. And that experience and emotion of oneness is something I will never forget. It feels so good to be there. You just don't want to leave. You don't want to leave that place. I remember tears streaming down my cheeks because it felt so amazing, like this unconditional love that I didn't know it existed. So I wanted to be there. My whole body experienced that bliss, tranquility, and oneness. So I want to emphasize it because in regressions, you are going to experience emotions. You are going to know that something is real. You feel it with your emotions and you sense those emotions in your body. It's as if it's real. Even more real than going through something as you are watching a movie. And another significant lifetime was during the Middle Ages. I was a man and I was the keeper of the secrets. Now, what were the secrets? I feel that it had something to do with the universal laws, with the Hermeticism, because in this life I had strong connection to it. And in that lifetime, I remembered I walked the streets in the medieval ages and I entered my home that, now from this perspective, I think if that was a home in the medieval ages, it was a palace. I entered it and it was so spacious. And on the other side were huge windows overlooking a beautiful landscape. I remember looking at the floor as I entered, and it was so bright. For medieval ages, it was bright. And I remember seeing a compass, the rose of the winds, inlaid in the floor, in the stone. And I knew that a part of me knew that they are searching for me, and they found me, and now they are going after me. I knew that this is the last day of my life. And the interesting thing that you can do in regression is that you do not have to go through everything. I didn't want to go through what would happen next to me. I simply got a headache. So that told me that something happened to my head. I didn't go through the experience when they caught me. I simply decided okay, with this lifetime, I already know what's going to happen next. I don't really want to experience that. I just know. So that's the important thing to know, that as you are going through your past lives, you can kind of edit. You can edit where you will go. You can know ahead of time what's going to happen there, and you may choose not to go there. So I will never forget this past life regression. The regressionist is one of my best friends right now, and we often go back to that memory. Now, my second in-person regression was when I was searching for the reason of my pain. I wanted to have it because I was experiencing pain in my back in one place, and I wanted to see if there is a spiritual reason for it, a reason maybe it originated in the past lives. Well, of course, it also could have originated in this life, right? But actually, we found something. In that regression, I was a man, probably in the 1800s or 1900s or earlier. It's hard to know. Anyway, the cities already existed in Canada. I was an Inuit man who had some leading position in his village. We were um, we were hunting the seals, and we were then using the fur of the seals. And you know what? This is one of those lifetimes when I often go back to, because sometimes I want to venture into doing something else. And there is always this message: stay where you are, stay true to your path. Even though other things may seem exciting, even though you for sure could do the other things, stay true to your path. So those images unfolded very naturally for me. I could feel the cold, I could feel the disappointment, and I could feel the pain. I could also feel the love of my people in the village. So this is what happened. I was perfectly happy in my village with my people, but I decided to try trade. To this day, I am not good at trading anything. And I decided I'm going to take the seal first, and I'm going to carry them to the city. And I was not able to, I didn't have any connections in the city, and I was not able to sell any of those furs. I knew that I was carrying heavy stuff, and hey, is this the reason of my current pain in my back? I was really disappointed, and of course it had impact on my sense of self-worth, you know. I decided to just mind my own business in the village, until one day there was a ship that came to our bay, and I wanted to venture into the sea and discover what is that ship all about. I'm going to switch the camera so you have a little bit different view on the sunset. So the story continues like this. The last thing I remember was I approached the ship in my little boat, and then I knew something bad happened there. I was captured and injured. I took a guess what actually happened, and that injury was exactly in the place in my back that I wanted to investigate. And the regressionist was instructing me to go into the details, and I refused to. And she pushed, and I pushed back. And the reason was I didn't want to see and experience all the details. I know they would be difficult to watch, so I didn't. So I'm telling you this just so you know that you can kind of direct your experience. You can have a sense of knowing, but you not necessarily have to see and experience all the details. The reason I wanted to do it was because I heard that there are people who would experience spontaneous healing in regression, people who had unexplained condition and they went through a past life and the condition went away. Well, I'm not sure it happened for me because a couple of years later, I still have pain in that place. It's simply telling me that the reason for this pain is on the physical level. The solution is on the physical level. And the thing that helps me is a good massage, good therapeutic massage. But that was a good try to resolve this issue on the spiritual level. And I don't regret at all that I did this past life regression because that also gave me insight into my personality. I ventured into the unknown, of course, alone because I don't have time asking anyone to help me or to join me, right? So I ventured into the sea alone, trying to be the hero or the person that brings the information, and it backfired. And again, stay where you are, stay doing what you are good at. Don't try to look for problems. Don't try to put your nose into what's none of your business. So I came back, and actually, it was not a place where I died. They sent me back in my boat, and my people. This is what I felt. My people took care of me, and then, sometime later, I died in my cottage, and I felt so much love being taken care by my people. And that was such a beautiful life. And that person was such an amazing man, very caring, but maybe sometimes not thinking through certain things, not being prepared very well for doing stuff that he was just not good at. He was not meant to do those things. And my third past life regression experience in person happened a couple of months ago. It was the hardest. What made it hard? First of all, she told me that I was trying to control things too much. I told her how to do this. I was already relaxed and I jumped out of the relaxation and I told her don't do that, which of course I thought it was funny and she didn't. When she was leading me through the experiences, it was hard for my mind to create a sense of knowing, an image or a feeling. In first lifetime, I was a very rich Italian woman, and my only purpose was to be and dress in beautiful clothes. And the hat that I saw I was wearing was so incredible that I absolutely have to paint it. I feel like it could be an inspiration for one of my paintings when I finally decide to do this. And in that lifetime, I had so much compassion for there were classes, right? So I saw other women not having the jewelry, and I felt like I have to give them the jewelry. And then I discovered that jewelry was not what they actually wanted. So it was kind of mm, silly of me to think that in that lifetime, but well, I was maybe 16. And the next lifetime also taught me a little bit, and it was a continuation of the theme from the second regression that took place years earlier. In the second lifetime, I was a person that was perfectly happy fixing shoes in, I think, in England. And I talked to many people that were rich, and we had great conversations. And I realized, hey, you know what? Actually, I could do what they are doing. And I opened a business. I borrowed money for a new business, and the business failed. And I was so disappointed because, on one hand, I knew that I can do this, that I am smart enough to do this and capable. And on the other hand, something was missing. And look, this is just a continuation of that lifetime when I went and wanted to trade silver and it failed. And here in this lifetime, because I borrowed money, somebody came and simply took my life in a painful way because I could not pay off the loan. And I could have been perfectly happy fixing the shoes, staying in my place. Value the place where you are, value what you feel because you are already happy where you are. So that regression was also difficult, but what made it easier was accessing my feelings and paying attention to the internal states. Yes, there were also images. They were rather static, right? I saw myself as those people, and we were not moving much. There was not much action. The experiences were more internal. The third way I was able to access my past lives was in the dreams. It simply happened spontaneously after past life regression. So I had a regression one day, and as I went to sleep that night, things were happening. I was basically waking up I don't know, maybe every hour or so, because the dreams were so significant and they had a theme, and the theme in that particular dream were guns. In every single chapter in that dream there were guns involved, but actually it was kind of funny. It was very light, nobody really died. And the reason I know there was something special about those dreams was because I was waking up, writing down what happened, and I would wake up again. Wow! And I would have to write it down. And I had 4 different dreams like this one night. I cannot access my dreams on demand like this. Now, another way to access past lives is in meditation. And I did it a couple of times. I just sat down to meditation, maybe 20 minutes, and I set an intention. I want to access my past life as it relates to this or that problem. Now, of course, the challenge is that nobody was guiding me through it. The images, well, yeah, I'm one of those people that also experiences the regression through images. The images were unfolding, and then I had to let them unfold without analyzing, and then get out of the meditation and write it all down and look for common themes in what I saw as it relates to my current life. And the 5th way of accessing past lives is through guided meditations. I tried that a couple times. It did not work for me, but there are many guided meditations out there on YouTube, for example, that you can use and see if that works for you. The reason it didn't work for me was similar to that group regression. The guiding voice would simply be completely misaligned with what I was going through. And what is great in the one-on-one passive regression is that as you are expressing what you go through to the regressionist, they can ask you questions that are related to that experience and not something completely unrelated. Or, you would be going through something big, and then the regressionist in group settings would take you completely somewhere else, and you didn't finish that experience that was so important. With, for example, free meditations on YouTube, you can do this, or on Insight Timer, you can do this multiple times at no cost. Okay, so I hope that this gave you some idea about what to experience and how to experience regression, that just because you are doing it for the first time, it doesn't mean that you will be blocked. That is another topic I want to talk about. Actually, I made a deal with the universe to talk more about past life regression. Thank you for listening, and if you have questions about past life regression, post them below and I will come and answer them. Thank you for watching.